It is 10:31 on March 25th, 2015. My call meeting order of the Joint Economic Development Zone 1 between Springfield Township and the City of Mount Healthy. Mr. Driscoll, may I have a roll call, please?
Dan Vernon.
Present.
Chris Gilbert.
Present.
Jason Henry.
Present.
Bill Coker.
Present.
Bob Parsons.
Present.
And Ray Russell is here.
Thank you. Next, do we have, I'm assuming everyone's had a chance to review the minutes from the previous meeting. Unless there are any corrections or changes anyone wants to make, do I have a motion to approve the previous minutes from the December 16, 2014 meeting?
I motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The next thing I have on the agenda is this discussion item discussing the status of the revenue collections of the JEDZ. I think, as we've seen, at least individuals involved from the two entities that receive the reports or that see the actual revenue coming in, we're right on what we expected in terms of an estimated amount when we entered into the JEDZ. Maybe slightly a little bit ahead, which doesn't surprise us because we were very conservative in our estimates initially anyway. So we're right on about where we expected it to be. I know last time we discussed the, for lack of a better definition, the enrollment status of businesses in terms of their withholding and remittance of taxes for their employees. And we were right around the 50% mark, 50 to 60% mark at that time. And Rita had indicated that the majority of the largest employers were on board. They were just working on some of the smaller ones. And I know that they have sent out letters to those particular businesses because I've been getting calls, I think, so have you guys, relative to some businesses that are receiving those letters and are now enrolling and withholding the taxes. So I know that percentages went up. We just haven't had our sort of quarterly discussions, conference call with Rita yet to determine exactly where that percentage is since they've sent out those most recent letters. So I don't really know where we are just yet. I do, just because of things I've heard, I know that they're increasing. But as with most things, I think we're probably getting 80 to 90% of the revenue because probably 50 to 20% of the businesses probably make up 80 to 90% of the revenue. So I know that we're, even though we may get additional enrollment, I don't actually see that the revenue collection is going up exponentially because of that. Because I think, as Rita indicated, you're probably getting the biggest ones now anyway. You're not going to see, just because you may increase with, businesses that are withholding by 40%, that's making revenues go up 40%. So, anyone else have any comments or questions or concerns regarding the status of collections?
Did you have a chance to talk to Rita about talking to people on these grants we're giving back?
Yeah, Rita's been instructed simply to refer any of the residential incentive grant questions to the township.
As well.
They have nothing to do with it.
As well as Mount Healthy. You guys don't. Do you get any calls?
That's really, we get called.
Just refer them.
We'll refer them over here.
Yeah.
Good.
I know you spend a lot of time on I've heard you had conversations with people, showing them where it's at on your right side, kind of walking them through.
Exactly.
Click here, and then those there. That's where it's at.
Right. And I know that last time we spoke, and Bob had brought up a good idea about maybe having a spreadsheet to show the revenue collection and things. And I think Bill, you sent out one just the other day that Rita actually supplies. And I think the anticipation is that that's something we send out to all the board members once we receive that from Rita, if that's amenable to everyone.
Right. I mean, could you get updates around the conversation you had with Rita about getting access to be able to generate?
Right. Jill, our finance director, she requested that I print out a report from our RIA software. I was not able to access reports with JEDZ, only Mount Healthy reports, so I put in a request with Brian from RIA to add those kind of reports into my access.
Okay.
So I'm going to have access tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning I'll have access to that report anytime.
Okay, and that simply shows a gross number, an aggregate number.
Right, status of where we're at.
Gotcha.
And won't you also be able to see the number of businesses registered, that kind of thing, or no?
I don't know.
I just wait to get
Yeah, right. I'll be able to look at that. But Brian also is getting back to me sometime today on the status of collections, how many businesses are not signed up.
I do know that in a conversation where they indicated that while they can tell you an aggregate number of how many businesses are, they can't tell you what each individual business is doing because they said that's tax information and it isn't subject to public record. So they're not even necessarily making that available to us. They'll tell us the number, but actually what one certain business is doing or what they're paying, they're not making that information available.
And we really don't need that.
No, I don't really care. I don't need it. But I'm just just to clear up any question, they've indicated that is not.
But will they give you who are number 1, 2, 3? I mean, they could probably do that.
I can do that. I can take that.
They could tell you
Yes.
without giving us a dollar amount.
Right, probably, yeah.
In the past, we've had reports that give you the top 10. But
Yeah, that might be interesting, but we really don't need to know what
Right.
each individual business or person is.
No.
For those businesses not signed up, I mean, what is really the deadline if they're
Well, that's already passed.
past that?
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, they have to go back to August 1st.
That's what I figured, yeah.
And a lot of companies, and I'll just say, because they made this known, Kroger is a good example. They weren't collecting as of August 1st, and they had the ability, if they wanted to go back to their employees and take that out of their employees' checks. Because it was their error, because it was for whatever reason internally, they didn't start doing it. They were notified, they acknowledged that they were notified, they just didn't start doing it. They decided the actual employer, Kroger, paid the back taxes on behalf of their employees. And I think that's a respectful thing to do if you're an employer, that you weren't complying with the requirement. But technically, employees could be penalized because of their employer is not complying. But that's the decision between the employer and the employees, that isn't ours. You have a question?
As far as the grants are concerned, are you receiving a lot of requests for those and the amount that you expected?
Actually, it's less than the amount that we expected so far. However, we haven't received any, we've actually received one business net profits grant request. A lot of those individuals will probably file the extension, and therefore they wouldn't actually, they're not actually going to pay the taxes or request their grant until October. But individuals, we are right at about $25,000 total right now in terms of grant amount, which is less than we anticipated, but there's still some time left, right? So we'll see what happens.
A lot of your self-employed people won't file till April 14th, 15th.
Right, and like I said, we don't have the net business profit on the back end either. Probably won't know that number until October.
Yeah, but it follows the April 15th deadline with an extension to October 15th?
But one thing people, you gotta realize is, if anybody asks you, you have to file for the extension.
You do.
with the township. You don't file, you wait till next year because you can't collect it. It's just like you have to file an extension with the IRS for this to have an extension. So it's just one more piece of paperwork you have to
Yeah.
send the township to let them know that you're
Yeah,
asking for an
you
extension.
just can't wait till October. You actually, by April 15th, have to file either your request for the grant or an extension.
Right,
It's a
right,
separate one for the township.
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say, well, I filed with the IRS and then,
You gotta file the extension request agreement too.
right.
So,
Yeah,
state,
state, federal, that's all.
yeah, all of them. So it's the same with the township,
So the
so
grant.
just so if anybody asks you, you know, if Kyle's putting that on TV, everyone will know that you need to file an extension to get the grant.
Right. Anything else? Okay. The only action item I have today, and I sent this out, and I know we've had some conversations based amongst Bill and I know Bob and I have traded phone calls off and on. Right now, the way that the board bylaws are written is that the terms are for 2 years, and that's correct. And our terms began on July 1st of 14, which would mean they would technically expire at the end of June of 16. Because we have many different boards and committees and different things in the township that I'm assuming the city of Mount does as well, conversation with Bill. None of those appointments end in the middle of the year. They all end December 31st of a given year. And what I wanted to do, which would make the most sense, is that for just the initial term of our appointments, I would like those to be extended to December 31st of 16, and then subsequent terms would be only 2 years, and then would end at the end of the year, at the end of calendar year. What I don't want to have is just one board and one appointment that we have to do in the middle of the year. It just seems strange to me. We don't do that for anything else. So I wanted to extend just the initial term to the end of 16, and then from then on out, each subsequent appointment would only be 2 years, ending December 31st of the given year. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about that? Does that make sense?
Administratively, it's a lot.
Absolutely, because at our organizational meeting every year, we make all of our appointments, given their staggered terms when they end at that organizational meeting at the end of every year. And this is just a strange one that I would rather not have this end at the end of June every year. I'd rather follow the same process of all of the other board appointments.
So it's both the appointment and then the position held.
Yes, for the initial term, correct.
Initial term, so.
Yes. Anyone, comments, questions, concerns?
Yeah, if this is the only one that's like this, I mean, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I assume our pay will be extended that extra time we have to serve.
We'll put another 0 for your salary.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, with that, no questions, concerns, I would ask for a motion to approve resolution number 01-2015, a resolution adopting amendments to the rules and regulations of the JEDZ 1 Board of Directors.
Motion here.
Have a second?
Second.
Mr. Rick, may I have a roll call, please?
Tom Bernie,
Dan Burton?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chris Gilbert,
Yes.
Jason Henry,
Yes.
Bill Coker,
Yes.
Bob Parsons,
Yes.
Larry Russell, yes.
Resolution passes. Appreciate it, guys. I think it just make it administratively make it a lot easier. Any other comments or questions for you of the order? The other thing I would ask is that, do we want to set up our meeting dates right now for the rest of the year, or would you rather just do it how we've been doing it, where I send out requests and you guys give me a bunch of days you're available based on what's going on at that particular time? However you guys want to do it, I'm fine with. So obviously we got to do this quarterly, right? So
Right, all right. That works.
better instead of just putting, because things change, I'd rather know closer to the date. So
I for that, I don't know if that's all
I
right.
like having a date and I can schedule around that.
Okay.
I can work it either way.
Well, the way we do it
As
now.
long as I know a week or two ahead of time.
Okay, yeah, and that's what we did this time, right? So I give you a few different dates and we just.
I schedule all my appointments within a week of when I get them, so I know.
Okay.
Right.
Well, then we'll just continue what we have. I'll send out an email, a few weeks ahead of time, saying, hey, give me a few dates, and then we'll go from there.
Right.
All right. Well, with that, if there's no more comments or questions, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we adjourn. Thanks, guys.